Is it just me, or does anybody else get really annoyed with the title of this movie? Like, really annoyed? Because it's called Bridget Jones's Baby, and there's like a S and an apostrophe and another S. And it's just a mouthful to say. I mean, try and say Bridget Jones's Baby a few times over, and it just doesn't work. Surely it should have been Bridget Jones apostrophe Baby. Like, does anybody get the same gist that I'm getting with this? Because it just doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, Bridget Jones's baby. I'm just gonna call it Bridget Jones' Baby from now on. It should have been called that, and I'm gonna call it that. So, Bridget Jones' Baby stars Renee Zellweger back in the role that sort of put her in the spotlight, put her like straight to stardom as Bridget Jones. And I'll go off the bat and say I'm not the biggest Bridget Jones fan. I mean, the first Bridget Jones movie I couldn't really get into. I never actually finished watching it. I watched the first sort of half, and I was just I wasn't into it. I couldn't get into it. I tried to watch it, and it just wasn't happening for me. Edge of Reason, not even going to talk about, but we've now got Bridget Jones' Baby, which is the third one in the series, and I'll say, for me, best in the series because it's the only one I watched the whole way through, and I didn't get bored one moment watching this movie, and I was very surprised at that, because I found it actually very, very funny in parts. Some of it was hilariously funny. I was laughing out loud, and I wasn't expecting that at all. I wasn't even expecting to laugh out loud once. I was expecting a few chuckles now and again. The person that got me to watch this movie actually was my mother. She went to see it, and she said it was very funny and that I should check it out. And being the person I am, having my unlimited card, going all the time to cinema, I thought, how bad can it be? And honestly, I've seen way worse movies this year and way worse comedies this year. So the movie stars, obviously, Renee Zellweger and Colin Firth. And Hugh Grant was not in this movie. I won't tell you guys why, but it is explained. But yeah, he's not in this movie. Instead is Patrick Dempsey, and I'll say he does do a good performance. Not as good as Hugh Grant. He's not as good an actor as Hugh Grant, but he does sort of fill in the role quite well. And I enjoyed his performance in the film. So the basic plot is that Bridget's single again. The movie starts and it's exactly the same as the first movie. She's sitting in her apartment on her own listening to All By Myself, and that's exactly how the first movie started. And I was sort of thinking, I'm kind of cautiously worried about this movie being a complete retread of a movie I found boring to begin with. It's a different movie. So she goes to this music festival with her friend and meets up with Patrick Dempsey's character Jack, and they have sex, and then she meets up with Colin Firth through circumstances that I won't say because, again, spoilers. But she meets with Colin Firth's character Mark Darcy again, and they get it on. Then she finds out that she is in fact pregnant and doesn't know which of the people she slept with is the father of her baby. And that is the basic plot of this movie, and that's what we have to follow from this movie. And it's done pretty well. It's not a groundbreaking new film. It's not something we've never seen before. We've seen this sort of thing before in comedies. But Renee Zellweger, almost as hard to say as the actual title of the film itself, Renee Zellweger does sort of carry this movie, but the chemistry with her and Colin Firth and the chemistry with her and Patrick Dempsey is good. But what I was very surprised about and what I really liked was the chemistry between Colin Firth and Patrick Dempsey. Obviously, they meet up in this movie and they know each other because circumstances, and they're trying to figure out who's the father, and they have this sort of on-off relationship. They're like, hey, we could be friends, but actually it's like, we're bitter enemies. And it's like, I like the balance between the two, and I like all the stuff where they're sort of competing against each other and they're not friends, but like they're trying to keep it together for Bridget and the baby, but you can just see that things are falling apart for them both. And I actually was more towards the side of Colin Firth in this movie. I mean, I felt really bad for him in parts. So they both give good performances, and they both work well with each other, as well as Renee Zellweger, which is really good. Emma Thompson as well. Very, very funny in this film. Every moment she was on screen I was loving. My favourite parts of the film do involve Emma Thompson and her sort of deliverance of comedy, and she is a very, very funny person. I watched Saving Mr. Banks not long ago, and she's very good in that and very funny in that, but she's so different in this, and she's so funny in this. And I really, really liked her performance. I wanted to see a bit more from her, but obviously it's not her movie. It's all about the three central characters, and I can't complain about any of them. Some jokes do fall flat, which you will get with any comedy. Some of them really do. Like, some of the jokes feel really outdated. Like, there's references to Gangnam Style, which I'm like, okay. and there's references to cats that look like Hitler, which I'm sure the internet forgot about years ago. And that whole scene with the cats that look like Hitler, it just wasn't too funny to me. And it's stuff like that that drags the movie down. I wouldn't say it ruins the movie for me because the funny moments outweigh the unfunny jokes, and the jokes that fall flat are outweighed by that stuff. But they really didn't work for me, and I wish that there was sort of more modern jokes in the film. I don't know how long ago this movie was made. Like, I don't know how long ago it was filmed. I don't know how long it's been in development. But maybe it's been a while since it's been in development, and maybe that was filmed when the jokes were relevant. But I felt they should have used some more modern sort of jokes in the film. So yeah, that's sort of the jokes like that do weigh it down slightly. But I won't say that makes, they're not terrible. They're not the worst. You could have way worse. You could be Jack and Jill for God's sake. So it didn't matter a huge deal. But just one of the gripes that I have. It does have some very heartwarming moments though. I mean, Colin Firth gives probably the most emotional of the performances. But you do start to feel bad for both of these guys at points because they both want to be a good father, and they both are like, at first you can sort of see they're like kind of worried and stuff, but they both want to be the father of this baby, and it's just like, I don't know which one of you is like my favorite character. But again, like I said, I was more towards the Colin Firth side of it. It was like Civil War, Team Firth or Team Dempsey. Team Firth all the way. But yeah. I'll say Bridget Jones' Baby, much better than I was expecting, much funnier than I was expecting, had very low expectations. And why can I not say her name today? Renee Zellweger has probably the best British accent I've seen from a non-British person too. So at least that didn't take away from the movie. But yeah, this movie's way better than I was expecting. And if you're expecting just a laugh, then this movie's a good one to see because I laughed a lot. And that's kind of what we needed of a film where we have shit like 9 Lives Out. So yeah, Bridget Jones' Baby. Pretty decent from from what I was expecting. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys soon.